Have a great treat for you today, Jonathan Antoine, the great tenor from, yes, the fame of Britain's Got Talent all those years ago. But fast forward, he's done a wonderful song, Va Pensiero, from Nabucco, and it's one of Verdi's incredible operas. There's a bit of sadness about it because I found a question and answer all about this opera and I want to share it with you. So we get to know the opera, we get to know the composer, and we get to know the song. And then of course we're going to listen to Jonathan. Now when it comes to the opera itself and the meaning, it is an aria from Giuseppe Verdi's opera Nabucco. The song is in Italian and the lyrics convey a deep sense of longing, nostalgia, and patriotism. Why do I say that? He composed Nabucco at a difficult moment in his life. His wife and children had all died of various illnesses, and despite a purported vow to abstain from opera writing, he had contracted with La Scala. Va pensiero, go thought, it says in English. The first word is a verb, go. The Hebrew slaves are speaking to thought. This is the meaning of the actual song title. And the slaves are speaking to thought, telling it to go where they cannot, to a better place, to home, to Jerusalem. I cannot go, but you can go for me. Va ti posa, which means go rest. Now, people often ask in the opera these various questions. Why is Va pensiero sung twice? And the answer that's given is, it's a chorus in the third act by the Hebrew slaves. The scholars have long believed the audience responding with the nationalistic fervor to the slaves and the powerful hymn of longing for the homeland demanded an encore of the piece. So that's the answer for that. Other people have asked these questions. What does Nabucco mean in English? Well, it's an opera by Verdi based on the biblical story of the Jews exiled from their homeland by Nebuchadnezzar. Now this is all fresh to me. This is all live. I am deaf in one ear, partially deaf in the other, and I ask people to bear with me on my pronunciations because I've had many people say you pronounced it wrong. But I do my very best to get the story across of all the artists I feature, all the operas that I feature, and where they come from in the best way I can. So if I am pronouncing certain things wrong, I ask for your forgiveness and for your patience. We'll continue. People ask, is Nabucco a good first opera? Well, of course, anything by him would be, wouldn't it? But this is the answers that's given. Simple, these are well-known arias from famous operas, such as, for example, Va pensiero from Nabucco by Verdi, or Nessun Dorma from Turandot by Puccini. This really is the perfect show for opera beginners. Now, it's 135 minutes long. It does have an intermission if you go to see it. So be prepared for a long opera, but there is a break. And if you're a beginner in opera, I would say this would be getting your toe into the water, as they say. I think we've answered that one. What does Nabucco mean? Nabucco is an Italian language opera in 4 acts composed in 1841 by Giuseppe Verdi to an Italian libretto by Temescoli Solera. Solera. And finally the title. We need to remember now what this song is about. The title and the song and the opera that it's coming from is about the Hebrew slaves are speaking to thought, telling it to go where they cannot, to a better place, to a home, to Jerusalem. I cannot go, but you can go for me. Vati posa, which means go rest. Let's rest now in the vocal, the liquid gold prowess of today's guest, Jonathan Antoine, and afterward I'll give you the meaning of the opera in its entirety. The research I've done, I've got it in note form, so it'll be a quick summary of what you're about to hear.
Pensiero sulla ali dorate, va ti posa sui clivi, sui colli, ove olezza notevide mali, laure dolci del suolo del Giordano le rive saluta, di Sion nelle torri atterrate. O mia patria si bella e perduta, o membranza si cara e fatta, arpa d'oro dei fatidi civati, perché muta dal salice pendi le memorie nel petto riaccendi, ci favella del tempo che fu, oh sì mille di soli mai fatti, tragi un suono di crudo lamento. Oh, ti ispiri, Signore, un concento che ne infonda il patire virtù, che ne infonda il patire virtù, che ne infonda il patire virtù, al patire virtù.
Absolutely stunningly, beautifully sung. Jonathan, you surpass all my expectations with whatever you do. The first verse says, hasten thoughts and golden wings, hasten and rest on densely wooded hills, where warm and fragrant and soft are the gentle breezes of our native land. It continues, the banks of the Jordan we greet, and the towers of Zion. O my homeland, so beautiful and lost. O memories so dear and yet so deadly. Remember, let's give us a reminder, this Verdi's opera, Nabucco, the lyrics convey, for me, a deep sense of longing, nostalgia and patriotism. And the key lyrics and meanings are the first line, because it says, va pensiero suali dorati, go through on golden wings. This line suggests a sense of freedom and flight of the mind, invoking a journey of the soul or spirit. O mia pietra, si bella e perduta, o membranza si cara e fetal. Oh, my country, so beautiful and lost, it says in the lyrics, so dear and fatal memory. For me, it's an expression, a mixture of love and sorrow for the homeland that they're singing, reflecting on its beauty and the pain of its loss or absence. Apre dior di faticia vati, golden harp of the faithful seers, it says in English, that's what it means, is referring to the harp symbolizing poetic inspiration and prophetic vision, highlighting the importance of history and memory. In the third verse it says, golden harp of our prophets, why do you hang silently on the willow? Rekindle the memories of our hearts and speak of the times gone by. And it finishes, or like the faithful Solomon, draw a lament of raw sound, or permit the Lord to inspire us to endure our suffering. So they're suffering, they're reflecting, they're wanting, they're desiring. It was an era and a time this opera was written about how the Jews were exiled by the king. And I could be wrong, I don't think it's King Solomon, but I do think around that time, if I recall my history lessons in life, it was all about the Israelis wanting to get back to Jerusalem. It was about the Jews being exiled and severe oppression. The cultural and historical references within the song's theme are longing for a lost homeland, and the reference to the Jordan River, Zion's fallen towers, and the golden harp of the prophet. Poets evoke imagery of the biblical story of the exile and longing for Jerusalem. It reflects the plight of the ancient Hebrews who were exiled from their homeland. Overarching themes and messages throughout these lyrics and the act itself that's performed on stage is the themes of va pensiero, include patriotism, exile, nostalgia, and hope. Pensiero, sorry. The song captures the universal feeling of yearning for one's homeland and the pain of being separated from it. It continues that sense of resilience and faith in the face of suffering and the belief in a brighter future. The symbolism and metaphors of the harp, that symbolizes the power of music, memory, storytelling. Because, you know, the harp has been associated, let's think about it logically, so many operas have conveyed how the harp plays such an important role. Because way back, the kings and queens around the world and noble people would often get the courtier to come out with the harp and play for them and entertain them. And it was the music of the day, so to speak, and the instrument of the world music, harp music. So even in an opera, that for me includes when they play the opera, that patriotism, that hope for to get back to the home, to hear the songs, smell the air, taste the freedom they'd get by going back to Jerusalem. And it's the pain of being separated from all that in the face of suffering. But as I said, they still believe in a bright future. But the harp is about storytelling, rekindling the past and inspiring for hope, coincides with that. The reference to Solomon and faithful seers, further emphasizing the song's connection to ancient history and prophecy, suggesting a link between the past and present struggles that are still, unfortunately, going on. The overall meaning and significance of what Jonathan has sung today, Va Pensiero, is a powerful tribute to the longing for freedom, homeland, and cultural identity. It serves as a reminder of the enduring human spirit in the face of adversity and the ability of music to transcend time and space. This song's poignant lyrics and emotive melody resonates with not just me, I'm sure it resonates with audiences around the world for that deep meaning and spiritual uplifting that this particular song gives, because it's delivering a message of hope, of unity and perseverance in the face of hardship. Thank you for listening, everybody. Take care.